tightly onto one of the beams above. In the absence of any rope or rationality, it would have to do. Standing astride the hollow loft hatch, I looked through the small black void into the hallway below, but could hardly see anything. Life presented itself in silhouettes, formless shapes viewed through tear-burned eyes. I no longer wanted to be here anymore. I no longer wanted to be anywhere. It wasn't the first time I'd been in this place, but every time I wanted it to be the last. I yanked the makeshift noose to check its tightness and started to place it around my neck. It felt soft and warm where I'd twisted it, in contrast to the stony coldness in my mind. The serene silence was broken by a door opening, frightened shouting, and footsteps running up the stairs. An interruption, how untimely. Stern and caring words urging me to stop. I was talked down, quite literally, and pleaded with to consider the wider implications of my actions upon other people. But I couldn't. It was evident that I needed help, but I continued to do all I could to avoid getting any. Upon reading these opening paragraphs, I implore you not to think that this book is going to be a solemn read. I promise that bird therapy is a positive tale. It's a joyous journal charting how the discovery of birdwatching transformed my life for the better. That moment was to be a turning point in my life and the catalyst for this book. This, my mental health, is the first of the two elements that form the story of bird therapy. And in order for my story to spread its metaphorical wings, we have to start at the bottom. 4 months after this emotional nadir, and I was hungry. On the cobbled streets of Norwich are many places to devour a full English breakfast. In fact, so many that we even have our own fry-up inspector. There I sat, guzzling artisan bacon alongside 2 of my friends, lining our stomachs in preparation for the annual Norwich Beer Festival. In this chic cafe, all mahogany chairs and chalkboard menus, I admitted to outsiders for the first time that there was something wrong with my mental health. It was a heady moment, and it felt like a proverbial weight had been lifted from my mind. The dirty little secret I'd been lugging around and hiding away was finally out in the open. I ploughed into the festival with renewed optimism, masking my actual fragility with copious amounts of real ale, as I'd long conditioned myself to do. As the afternoon drinking session drew to a close, we made the decision to walk to a nearby pub to continue imbibing. But I was nearing a point I knew all too well, the point where I lose all inhibition, self-control and awareness. After a short while, and a few pints, a gentleman approached me at the bar and asked me if I was related to my father, stating how much I looked like him when he was younger, and what a great guy he was when he knew him. My inebriated self snapped back at him, snarling and sniping that I didn't want to know anything about him, and was nothing like him. 25 years of suppressed hurt, confusion and despondency bubbled up to the surface, and I imploded. I couldn't cope with someone challenging the lifetime of negativity that I bred inside my head as far as my father was concerned. A stranger was telling me that my dad, who I believed to be a monster, was actually a decent bloke. No one had the right to undermine what I believed. No one. And this threw me into a maelstrom of emotions. I had to get out. "I'm going for a fag," I lied. And I left the pub without telling anyone and walked, spiralling further downwards inside. I didn't realise it, but this was the onset of a nervous breakdown, and it would have to get worse before I could start to get better. I was made safe that night, tucked in like a toddler, and watched until I went to sleep. When I woke, though, my mind was rushing, and my thoughts were reeling, the uncontrollable culmination of years of negative thinking. There was no rationalisation and no control, meaning that I shook, sobbed, and clutched at my temples, urging it all to go away, as if rubbing my head would help. An emergency doctor's appointment was booked, and there began my journey to recovery. The first thing the doctor did was to sign me off work for an indefinite period of time, adding my name to the ever-growing waiting list for mental health support in Norfolk. I remember sitting in a bright clinical room and trying to explain the issues and feelings I'd been experiencing for most of my adult life. I felt stupid and even a little bit scared trying to describe my thought processes out loud, as if expressing them verbally somehow made them more real. I shared that I'd been self-medicating since roughly the age of 15, firstly with daily cannabis use and then with a daily cocktail of other illegal drugs and alcohol.